Hello and welcome. Today we are here in Pakistan, Karachi, Pakistan, and today is a very special episode. Today I'm with Mr. Zuhair Siddiqui, CEO of Sapphire Consultancy Private Limited. And Zuhair Siddiqui did his MS from Stanford in 1990s, I believe, and he has over 25 years of experience in IT industry. Sapphire Consultancy firm offers customized software development for private and public sectors ranging from finance, public healthcare, and also education. So, Zuhair Siddiqui Saab, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I wanted to know, I have a lot of questions for you,
Sure.
but let's start with, I know I didn't do a justice giving you such a short introduction, so I want to know a bit more about you. So, how was your life in US, studying in Stanford, and then about the Sapphire Consultancy firm, why you decided to come to Pakistan after finishing your studies?
First of all, thank you. I would like to thank you, Samad, for taking your time and talking to me and introducing me to the social media platform. We have been in the industry for a very long time, but we haven't sort of done social media. Now everyone is doing it. So thank you. Thank you for taking time and interviewing me for it. So when you talk about the US, I think it's important to go back and see what the background and how I ended up where I am right now. So the first step in our academics comes when you have to decide. At the time we did our studies in 80s, it generally was that in Pakistan, you generally have two options. You go in medicine, you go in engineering. So that option was very easy for me. I loved mathematics, not a big fan of biology. So I said, okay. So it was an easy decision. Went through the college, did from DJ Science College, my intermediate. And then there's a point where you have to decide now what discipline you choose. So in that, you generally look towards your parents, your seniors. So my dad, who was a civil servant at that time, had a vision, and he said that computers is the upcoming field. And I completely agreed with him. And I chose the field of, at that time, they had introduced computer systems engineering, which was probably the second batch. I started from Mehran University, where at that time my dad was the vice chancellor there. So I said, okay, let's be close to the family. And then after 4th semester, I moved to NED University. So I did my computer systems engineering from NED University, completed it from it. And then I was fortunate to get a scholarship to go abroad and do my master's in computer science. And I was again fortunate to get into a very prestigious university of Stanford. It was a good opportunity for me, but at the same time, very challenging. Challenging in the sense that you have people coming from all over the world with different backgrounds, very competitive people. Secondly, my degree was in systems engineering, whereas where was going there, it was computer science. So it was very heavily focused on the software component of it. And that was what I wanted to do initially. But at that time in Pakistan, they didn't offer any computer science courses or degrees. Anyhow, that period went smoothly, challenging. You generally get used to getting top grades. But then when you go and compete with very bright kids, and you are not at that level. So that I felt that, but I think towards the end, I was able to catch up and complete the degree in time. So that was sort of the journey to complete my education and then enter into the professional life. That is another point where you have to decide whether to work in US or to work in Pakistan. And that was your question, why did I came back to Pakistan? So at that point, again, your parents and your family is someone you go and talk to them. We are very closely knit family. It's a business family, as well as my dad was a civil servant. So we had people in bureaucracy also, business also. So they suggested, and I again agreed with them, it's best to get professional experience in US so that you are prepared to undertake any activity that you like. So based on the suggestion, I joined a company called Informex Software, which is, I don't know, many people know about this software company, but it is still a database company. It was acquired by IBM at a later stage. Now it's part of IBM Corporation. And it was one of the 3 leading database companies in Silicon Valley. So I worked in Informex for 5 years. Then there was a period of year 2K where there was an internet bubble developing, getting ready to burst. And that was the time I decided to move to an internet startup called a company called IXL. They undertook mostly .com projects. They undertook project related to enabling internet-based businesses. And that was the time the bubble was bursting. So these companies, which were the high flyers at that time, they started facing difficult time. So they got merged with another company called Scient. But that also didn't last for long. And eventually both of those organizations were no longer there and they got bankrupt. I continued with a client which we were already working with. So there was a client called Boston Coach. It was a company of Fidelity Investment. It is, at that time I was in East Coast in Boston. So we continued there as independent consultancy for 2 years. So the whole period of this spanned around 10 years where I was working in US. At that point, I realized that it's time to go back. Now, the question why I made that decision of going back. So it has 2 factors to it. First of all, you have, as I said, we are closely knit family. So there's a family part to it. So majority of my family was in Pakistan. So we want to be close to them. Secondly, I had some entrepreneurial germs in it. So after working for 2 years as freelance, I had the opportunity to see how you can independently work and how you can think about different businesses and all of those things. So in order to keep a connection between US and Pakistan, the best option I felt and opportunity was for an offshore software consultancy company established in Pakistan, providing services to US businesses, Western businesses. The whole idea being at that time and still is that the cost of development is significantly less here. And then companies looking for a better arbitrage of resources can divert the business towards Pakistan for development. Fortunately for me, the good thing was that since, as I mentioned, our family was in business also, so it wasn't very hard for me to establish Sapphire in 2005. And immediately we started signing up for partnerships with Oracle and IBM as their integration partners. We found business in private sector initially, and then followed by, which was another, I think, a turning point in the history of Sapphire. Around 2009, we won a project in public sector for motor vehicle registration, the tax collection. And once we were awarded the project, we started working on it. Public sector has its own challenges. But the benefit of public sector is that the ticket items are much bigger. So the projects we used to get from local market, even though were good projects, but when it compared to this public sector project, in terms of value of money, public sector would be, from the scale, value point of view, quite a bit multiples of the local project. So we deviated from our goal, which was offshore consultancy, because at that time in 2005, the market here, local market was booming. And it's sort of a chicken and egg situation that you need to have consultants before you go and pitch to offshore clients. And so we earlier thought that we grab some local business, build a team, and then go to offshore markets. But given the market conditions locally, we found good business, local markets. We were working with the same technologies which I was working in US, working with Oracle products, working with IBM products, and then as we signed up with public sector, we then started working a lot on the custom software development, and that is our main forte now. So from that point on, our focus has been mostly public sector projects. Initially, it was in Sindh. Now we are spread throughout Pakistan, working on multiple big projects throughout Pakistan. And in between, we do banking sector, insurance also. But our main client base has been public sector since 2009 and 10.
That's a really huge work experience, I would say. It's like you have done everything from the US side of things and then bringing it to Pakistan and scaling it. So I have one question on that. You have already seen 2 decades, 20 years worth of evolution in Pakistan. So how the IT sector and entrepreneurship in general have evolved from 2005 till now?
Yeah, I think we have come a long way, and especially I feel that there are points in or periods in Pakistan IT industry which pivotal, I think. I think when I arrived, IT was picking up. Focus was on offshore development.
Yeah.
And then there's a period after COVID, which also saw a significant movement, and Pakistan probably benefited a lot. This unfortunate incident, but the people and the companies were more open to remote working throughout through an entire world. People were working remotely. So the concept of offshore development, concept of development at much lower rates was more acceptable. And so I saw, as far as entrepreneurship is also concerned, I saw a lot of companies come up and then vanish. But this period, there's a huge movement towards artificial intelligence. There's huge movement on offshore development. So, and data-related project, and then whole social media has created a great environment where freelancers can thrive. So I see a very bright future right now. Government of Pakistan also had started this initiative of NICs, National Incubation Centers. That has also picked up. Now provinces are taking on this role also. They have started multiple more such initiative in entrepreneurship. We ourselves are on the verge of being awarded a Sindh Incubation Center. So I would not say yet that has been given to us, but we are in negotiations with them, and hopefully we will start that. And if we do, I feel that from the Sapphire's point of view, it would give us a bigger landscape. There are a lot of ideas. As a consulting company, we develop a lot of products for different businesses. These are customized to their needs. And then we come across a lot of ideas that, okay, this should have been done. These products should have been developed. And I think with this Sindh Incubation Center, we believe that we will have that platform to promote entrepreneurship, to help young individuals take their bright ideas and take them to the market. We are also interested in investing in some of these platforms if something which are close to my heart, which is environment and technology. So we find good fits, then we can also invest on those ventures too. Similarly, we are also looking for more injection and investment so that we go to the next step. So I think it's exciting times. We see Pakistan on the horizon where different ideas are being worked on. And I'm very hopeful that if we continue with this incubation centers, there's talent in Pakistan, there's no doubt about it. And world is getting smaller and smaller. It doesn't really matter where you are. You have access to all the information and all the knowledge which you need to go to the next step. So I believe that right now, entrepreneurship is being promoted a lot by the government, by private sector people. So this seems like a bright future for Pakistan in that space.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on being awarded, or hopefully being awarded,
Hopefully.
the Provincial Incubation Centers and Incubation Center. I wanted to ask, last decade, like in my experience, I have visited Pakistan a few times. Now, as I'm visiting, I have seen a lot more startups, a lot more incubation center, and a lot more things happening in this ecosystem.
Right.
Before that, there was not much like startups, or like even the concept of startups were not really available here. I would say like this were not much talked about, but now everyone knows it. Everyone wants to be part of it, and I get a lot of people requesting a meeting just to talk about their ideas and stuff and how they can basically scale it in Canada and US. So I wanted to ask you, what's your experience like in this startup sector, and how you think it's different from US to Pakistan, because every country has a different ecosystem and different style, as we have in Canada and US as well. So how is your experience tells you like what's so different and how Pakistan can thrive?
See, Pakistan is lagging behind. Obviously, we are very conservative when it comes to startups. US has a lot of appetite of risk. They take the risk. They have good venture capitalists there. So there's a long way to go as far as Pakistan is concerned. But as we start with these incubation centers, and there are some success stories, but I believe that if there are 2 or 3 big success stories, then we will see more and more funding coming to Pakistan. Generally, our businessmen in Pakistan, they like to invest in real estate, and that's unfortunate. I think they should be more interested in investing in ideas, or stock market should be interested in ideas which would resonate globally. So, as I said, the world has become smaller. So we should not be just focused within Pakistan. We should look outwards and what we can develop as products that can be pitched globally. So right now, the environment in Pakistan is developing. We are at a very nascent stage. We can't compare ourselves to countries like US, Canada, or any other places. I feel that there's a lot of interest in Middle East, where there are investors, they have money, they have cash, which would be instrumental if they start spending or investing in Pakistan market and see the results and fruits of it. So I think we are at a very early stage, but as it matures, as I said, talent, knowledge is now not limited to one geography.
Yeah.
With social media, internet, AI, it's just that wherever you are, you have good ideas, concept, but at the same time, you need to have also an execution engine. Without it, you may have a very good idea. So you need to work as a team whenever you come up with an idea. And that is the whole purpose of incubation centers also, where you form those teams and then learn how to operate or take a new startup and commercialize it, and then how you sustain and grow from it. So things are hopeful. I feel that things are looking up, and I hope that it continues and we grow through it.
Yeah. So in terms of market expectation, in Pakistan, I feel like it's hugely different than any other So what I see is like some of the startups that I have previously interacted with in Pakistan, they develop product mostly for outside market. It's like the product they have developed is basically catering to internationally rather than locally. So most of the startups are talking about basically targeting all over or any other country rather than just one side of it or just the Pakistani market. So what do you think about that?
Okay, I think it's a mix of things. There are companies which are developing products which are can be pitched globally, and I think that is the most ideal thing because that increases the scale, valuation, and all of those things. But at the same time, there are products like Bikea, which is geared towards local market. Similarly, I think Food Panda is also local. So it's a mix of both of those things. So I've seen companies or people who were entrepreneurs here, they're not very successful. They went to Silicon Valley and they became successful.
Yeah.
So so first of all, if you are in Silicon Valley, you are connected to right people, right? So you can then grow, and there's an appetite of rest. You give them a good idea. Regardless of your race, ethnicity, you would get the audience, the necessary resources to run the business. They look at your capability based on your merit. When we come to Pakistan, then their choices are very limited. They're limited investors. I think there's some policies which Pakistan needs to make it further conducive, especially when it comes to taking money abroad or how we can invest in. I mean, it's hard to bring in dollars into your dollar accounts. So there's some improvements going on. I'm not an expert on that field because we haven't done more offshore work, but that's what our industry says. So I won't talk about it on that topic much, but our policies need to be more conducive to for us to become more international. So to answer your question, so there's a mix. Businesses you find local as well as in technology, as well as geared towards international.
Right. So what about the public expectation and public, because like you need to have some kind of adaptability, right? So we are moving towards a more technological era. But here, what do you think? People are able to adapt it quickly, or it's going to take a lot of time for them to adapt? Because then companies or startups that are trying to develop a more technological side of things, a new technology or something that requires public adaptations towards it, they won't find much success as they can find it in US or Canada, right?
Right. So I think as far as adaptation is concerned, Pakistan is predominantly young generation. Right? So young generation can adapt to the technology very fast. Technology is your sort of mobile phone, smartphone, which already everyone sort of seem to have it. So they can adapt to it, they can use it. I think that's not a challenge. Yes, older generation, they would have challenges, but I think we should focus mostly on the younger generation who can take Pakistan to the next level. So there is no barrier there.
Mm-hmm.
The barrier comes, I mean, I'm a little deviating because that's from public to public sector. So a lot of services which public sector offers are now going on to digital platforms, right? So World Bank has a lot of initiatives which are taking public services to digital platforms. However, there's always a resistance from the public sector and I don't want to go into the reasons, but there are multiple reasons for it. It can be fear of technology because obviously there are people who have a certain age bracket, they're not comfortable with it. There may be other ulterior motives also. There may be concerns about security and whatnot. But I generally don't believe in it. This public sector information should be public to everyone, except for law enforcement and some other areas where you need to have information that needs to be private, but where the funds are being spent should be public. What services we are providing and all of those things should be public. All procurement should be public, which is public. So the barrier I see is the government, and which is now going through this transformation stage of adoption of technology. As far as public is concerned, I think general public is very savvy. Technology has become very easy to use, easy to understand. So I feel that there's no barrier as far as public is concerned in terms of adopting technology, but our government needs to adopt and provide those services to public through digital platforms.
I see. Yeah, that would make more sense. Like if government takes more initiative towards it, people will be able to adapt quickly as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So in terms of industry, every country has a specific industry that has like huge growth potential because of like geographical location, political scenario, or any other reason. So what kind of industry you think Pakistan can excel in and should be focusing on?
Obviously the technology industry, and they are focusing on that because that can bring in a lot of dollars. Technology is not limited to just Pakistan, so you can offer these services across. As far as other industry, I think environment is up and coming, where we can essentially get benefit from the carbon credits we earn. That is an area where I feel that we can get significant dollars in Pakistan. There are other industries. Textile is there, which has been traditional, but I don't know. I think agriculture is an area where we should focus. Agriculture tech area is an area where we should focus because our economy predominantly is agri-based economy.
Yeah.
And we have not taken the steps to optimize on agriculture and how to increase the output of. So I believe that there is a huge potential on agri-tech side, how we can benefit. I mean, if we can, for instance, I'm just giving an example, predict the weather patterns better, and then we can then plan our crops accordingly. We use, I don't know, I'm not an agri expert, but there's what we know as far as the per acre yield of Pakistan compared to the neighboring countries like India or China, we are far behind. So there's a huge potential for us to work on that domain. That can be, I think, a lifesaver for us. I mean, in Pakistan, we have sort of everything. We have the land, we have water. And I think water is another area where one has to use tech to conserve and optimally use the water resources, and that would help the agriculture economy.
Yeah.
So those are the areas which I think there's huge potential where we can improve. Social services, the services government provides to people, that requires a lot of improvement.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential there.
I agree with you on the agriculture for sure, because Pakistan started as an agriculture nation and we had a huge export of agriculture in the very beginning. And I met a couple of startups in Canada who were using AI to basically figure out good seeds from bad seeds so they can improve the yield. So because like a farmer uses the seeds and they don't know if it's a good or not, and then season passes and if it doesn't grow, then it's like basically a loss, right?
Absolutely.
So they I'm not sure how far they are now, but like last time I talked to, they said that they could predict 95% accuracy. That's huge. If they can improve the seed yields just by doing that.
That's a very good point. I mean, similarly, there might be other areas also in agriculture which you can improve, but seed is absolutely, I completely agree.
Yeah. So I think like if Pakistan starts focusing on the agriculture a bit more and start using the AI and the latest technology, we'll be able to improve yield and export of the agriculture. But going back to, it's like going back to basics with the twist of technology.
Absolutely. I mean, technology, you cannot remove technology from any field now. Every field has involvement. If you talk about medicine, agriculture, manufacturing, everywhere you have technology. So, yeah.
So coming back to Sapphire. So I know you develop a lot of customized software for all the sectors. So I want to know any project that you are particularly proud of and you can share the information on.
So we have, in these past 20 plus years of Sapphire, we have done multiple projects. I mean, projects that have made difference, I believe, there are projects which have made difference, which are running year over year, bringing in revenue for, since we do work with public sectors, so bringing in revenue for the government, as well as being profitable for us. So one of the project is the motor vehicle registration. I mean, the challenge with public sector are different than the private sector challenges. Is the adoption, which I mentioned to you.
Yeah.
So it took us for 3 to 4 years to get that application live, which it's a simple application, but with the challenges we face, it took us 4 years to get that going. But as I said, that you need, or I might not have said, but this is the key for public sector, that you need to have patience, perseverance for any project. So if you are committed and said, okay, the project is going in loss, but you stick to it, eventually it would materialize. So the same thing happened here. So this project, which we implemented, was essentially collecting or issuing registrations to new vehicle and then collecting regular taxes. Then we moved on to the online taxes, where you can pay through your mobile phones, through your web browser. Now we also introduced a platform which is more like an eBay sort of a platform for auctioning of number plates. That was developed in a very short period of time. I think we are proud of that, where you can bid for any number through a mobile application, through your web interface, and then pay for it online also. So there's no restriction whether you are in US, Canada, you are anywhere in the world, you can take part in the bidding process. So that has been a project which I believe has been successful from the terms of technology, as well as that it has sustained. Generally with government projects, you develop something, you get paid, and then that gets scrapped, and then the same thing is developed again. I see a lot of examples of these. So from that point of view, I call it a success. Second project, which is a sort of high-profile project we are working on, it's currently in the beta stage, is with State Bank of Pakistan. This is an initiative of treasury auction. So treasury bills are auctioned online and between different banks, and that's how your interest rate is determined. So that project is completed, and it's just awaiting for its official launch. It's under beta production for quite some time, I think more than 6 months now, and it's about to be ready to be launched. We also did a project with which is relevant to the incubation and the startups, with Higher Education of Commission. It was a World Bank initiative. The State Bank was also a World Bank initiative, by the way. This project is called ORIC and BIC, which is the Business Incubation Center and Office of Research and Innovation and Commercialization. So every university has an ORIC BIC center, ORIC. And so a database was developed by HEC, which connected all the universities, where all of the work of research and commercialization is then put into the database, and you can then search accordingly. Similarly, they have competitions of startups for every year. So that is also conducted through this platform. That has been live for 5-6 months now. Lastly, I think we are working on social protection area where, especially after floods and the devastation we had, a lot of donor countries are interested in providing assistance to the needy people. So they have developed a platform. This is also World Bank initiative. So there are two projects separate. One is for the floods which we have developed, where there's an option for cash for work. So you get paid for some small amount of work which you are given. The payments are all digital. Similarly, the social protection project we are doing with Punjab has to do with different programs they run for needy people of Punjab, where they give scholarships, they give pensions to old people, for transgenders. So all of these would be done digitally. So these are some of the few projects which we feel very proud of, which have made a difference. And we want to take what we have learned from it, to other provinces, other countries, where we can. So that is our angle, that we've done it once, now let's do it. And especially on the social protection side, we did the project, and that's how we got another 2-3 projects on that social welfare side. And I think technology would play a big role, because you distribute cash, in kind, and they need to be recorded in the system, so as to make sure that people who deserve are getting their share.
Yeah, those are some big and amazing projects in public sectors. So in terms of private sector, what kind of services Sapphire can offer to private sector? Let's say a company in Canada or US wants to reach out to you and hire the Sapphire for some services. So what kind of services Sapphire can offer to them? Okay, so we didn't talk about the offerings which Sapphire provides. As I mentioned to you earlier in my conversation, that we are partners with Oracle and IBM. So now, not so much on IBM side right now. We have, but we do a lot of products of Oracle. Okay. Now, Oracle is international, so they have e-business suite for their ERP, then they have PeopleSoft for campus management as well as ERP. Similarly, they have the middleware which runs in different banks and telcos. So we have expertise of these package solutions. We have expertise of various business intelligence tools that can be offered to internationally. And similarly, the work we do for public sector is custom development. So all the custom development can be offered to offshore. So whatever we do here sort of can be pitched offshore also. Just the difference is it's a different style of marketing. Yeah. With public sector, it's mostly tender-based business, and internationally, you would have to market yourself accordingly. So that's a transformation we are seeking now, and say, okay, let's take what we have developed here, or the expertise and the skill set we have, and take it offshore, pitch the same ideas also there. So that is the future goal of ours. And the challenge we face is that we're so much engaged in local projects that we've not been able to execute on that front. I see. So hopefully that gets better, and you are planning to integrate yourself into the foreign markets. Right now, I believe you are focusing on US.
Yes, we are focusing in, our primary focus would be in US, given that I myself have a lot of experience working in that industry for more than 10 years. They are more open to, they have been traditionally more open to offshoring of work, but now you see throughout the world, and the same concept has been replicated. But our main target would be US. But in order to target that market, we are also looking for investment so we can, whatever we start, has the right resources, have the right marketing people to go and pitch those services. Similarly, I think with AI, we believe that there would be an easier business matching. So if we have, for instance, 40, 50 Java developers, I'm sure that with right matching and right tools, we would be able to find work for them. We've not focused on the product yet, so we're mostly focused on services, but we in future, we plan to identify a few products and then develop them. And some of the products we have developed, maybe make it as such that it can be sold as a product, right? So you develop something for an individual client. Now you need to package it in a way that it can be deployed at any client with minimal configuration. So we're working on that angle also for future.
That's amazing. Yeah. So since we are running low on time, I have a one last question, and that's for our new generation startup founders. Do you have any advice for new entrepreneurs and startup founders?
See, I mean, I can speak from my experience. Okay. Entrepreneurship may come to someone naturally. People like me, it was a struggle. So one has to think it through. But I believe that you have a limited time in this world, so you should try your hand if you are interested, and that's what I did. So if you are passionate about certain idea and you have that entrepreneurial germs, you should go for it. And you should, right now, within Pakistan, if I'm addressing the Pakistan community, then I would say that there are a lot of platforms for you. So you don't have resources, not an issue. You come in, join one of these NICs. You have a good idea. You would find in those NICs the necessary coaching you need. They can guide you. The subject matter experts would be there. And then finally, investors would be there. So if you can prove to them that, yes, your idea carries weight and you have the right team to run this thing, so you will be successful. So don't shy away from it. So right now it's a good time. Not hold back, go with the flow. Things happen. If it's successful, excellent. If it's not successful, you should not feel bad about it. You can try again. At least you would learn whether you have that in you or not. But generally, any new business you start, there are always chances for a failure. So you go in thinking that, okay, it can result in a failure also, but you need to give a best possible effort. That's the only thing you can do. The other factors are determined somewhere else. I think luck, timing, these are all important things which you cannot control. But the thing which you can control is the dedication and the hard work and the effort you can put in. If one thing is not successful, maybe the second would be, and you learn from that thing. So my advice is, if you have those entrepreneurial jumps, go for it. Don't hold yourself back.
So basically, give it a try, and resources are there. You just have to reach out, find the right resource for yourself, do a little bit of effort, and see if your idea works or not. If it doesn't, don't be sad about it. Give it another try. If it does, then congratulations.
Absolutely. And as far as international markets are concerned, I think they have a lot of options. There's no barriers for them. So I can't give much advice there because I don't have much experience setting up a company offshore, even though setting up in US is very simple. You can set it up in one day, not an issue. But you need to make sure that you maintain it, file your returns timely, and then obviously do your the main core business is the main thing. You're getting revenue, that's when you would file for taxes, but that's the area you need to focus on, your core business. But as I said, that in Pakistan, there's a lot of opportunities for people. And we have been in, as I mentioned, in talks with the Sindh incubation. They want to establish it throughout the province of Sindh, which means then bigger cities of Sindh, Hyderabad, Sakkar. So they would have opportunities, people who are not in Karachi.
Yeah.
They are in other provinces. They would also, other districts of the provinces, they would also have an opportunity to set up. Sakkar IBA is a wonderful institution where in Sindh, which is enabling business entrepreneurship. Definitely Karachi has a number of institutions, IBA Karachi and others, IOBM and a lot of other business schools. But I think it's a good, exciting time for entrepreneurs. So they should try that.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Siddiqui sir, for your time and sharing your experience and all these stories, amazing stories with us. It was a pleasure talking to you. And
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.